Good
Yes.
morning,
And
Jody.
happy Jubilee.
Thank you.
You're a diamond jubilarian.
Yes.
60 years.
It,
Can you
it
believe
amazes me.
Are there any other sisters on campus who are celebrating 60 also?
Oh, quite a few
Quite
of
a few.
us. Yes.
Such as?
Diane McGuirtz, Susie Cressy, Helen McAllister, Joella Miller is sort of on campus. Pat Brady has just come.
Oh, my.
And Judy Seefeld is in the other crowd. But yes,
Oh, amen.
we get together every now and then. Yeah.
Isn't that hard to say sometimes?
It just to me, I am just so grateful for my life in these 60 years. And
well, there must have been some high notes and some low notes. So let's start with the high notes. What were some of the things that really have stuck in your heart, ministries or events that in these past years?
Well, to be missioned to California for my first mission was certainly a highlight. And to stay there for 30 years, you know, between California and Nevada, and then to get my master's at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, which was a real treat because, you know, the Grand Canyon is nearby and the Oak Creek, and it's just a beautiful
Oak
spot
Creek Canyon, yes.
to study. And so it was delightful. And then all of my ministries, I've enjoyed teaching. I am so grateful for the Sister Dennis Olivia and Sister Mata Marie and Robert Joseph Bailey, who taught me how to teach. You know, they were my mentors.
Robert Joseph in Henderson.
Henderson, but she was at St. Lawrence O'Toole teaching, and she's very creative, and she helped me to be creative in my teaching. So over the years, it was basically primary grades, but every now and then I would teach an upper grade, and enjoyed it very much.
And they called you Sister Virginia Frances.
Yes, they did.
And how did you happen to have that beautiful name?
My dad is Francis, my brother is Francis, and I'm Frances. My mom was Virginia, and my sister is Catherine Virginia. So for the whole family, and for some of the generations before me, it was a name that I, but then when they started shortening the name to Ginny or something like that, I wanted my own name back, just Fran.
Your birth name, Frances.
Yes.
Well, while you were born in Chicago, I presume.
Yes. St. Philip Neri Parish, and went to Aquinas, and our nuns were so good to us. You know, they right from Sister Grace Francis, my first grade teacher, to Sister Rose Francis, who taught me English. I mean, we were doing term papers
in grade school?
In high school. High school. And Aquinas. And all the teachers I had, Sister John Bernard and Sister Sienna, Sister Agnes Louise.
You're very fortunate.
Very fortunate. My sponsor, Sister Rita Cecile, yeah.
And Sister Mary Midding is, no, not Midding. There was some.
Another highlight was when I went to Africa.
Okay.
You know, that was in the early 90s. Sister Mary John had asked Nadine at one of their meetings if any sisters would be willing to go to South Africa to this girls' boarding school in the middle of the desert in many ways.
Was Sister Mary John from South Africa?
Yes, she is.
Was she a Dominican?
No, she was a sister of St. Bridget, but she was the representative to the USIG, the Union of Superiors General. So 3 of us went to South Africa, Mary Margaret Bahutsky, Jean Tobin, and myself. And we taught at a rural boarding school, all girls, 200 girls. And
it had already been established then.
Right. The Sisters of Charity from England and Ireland. I think their foundation house might have been in Birmingham, but there were a lot of Irish sisters in the group. And they were teaching there, but they were withdrawing. And so they needed some English speakers to go there, because in South Africa there were some English-speaking schools, some Afrikaans-speaking schools, and some local language. In our area it was Swana. And so they asked us if we would come, and we did. And it was during the time, the run-up before the election of Nelson Mandela, and that was very special. We were able to be monitors for the counting of the votes. And so it was an exciting time. But there were times when it was a little frightening, you know.
When you first went there,
Yes,
perhaps.
yes.
Yes. The government upheaval, oh my.
Yes.
You didn't know who was friend and who was enemy.
Exactly, exactly.
But did you teach, or were you an administrator there at the boarding school?
Oh, I was a teacher. I taught business economics. I taught English, and we studied Macbeth, if you can imagine. And English was really a second language for most of the students. And religious studies. But during that time, we were able to get computers for the school, and the bishop was very fine. He helped us to get those computers, and so then I taught the students about computers, and they were very, very grateful.
Oh my. That set them on a course right there, didn't it?
Exactly. Now, we didn't have internet or any of the things we have now, but it was a very a basic introduction, even to typing, even to learn and printing and right.
Was Ethel Detz with you at that time?
Yes, she came just as I was leaving. She came a year before and taught in Johannesburg at a Dominican school there, and then moved to Modimong just before I was ready to leave. The government was changing with the election of Mandela, and what I was hearing was that the expats should leave so that the local teachers could teach in the school. And I was teaching ordinary subjects that any South African could have taught. And so that did happen when I left. A local teacher was hired. So that was opening up an opportunity for someone.
I recall that there were Irish Dominican sisters, I presume priests too, but did you ever get together as a Dominican order?
Oh, we did. There was the Federation of Dominicans in South Africa. It was called FEDOSA. And within a month of when we arrived, there was a meeting. And so we were able to meet and greet 5 different communities along with the men. And there would be like quarterly or maybe every 4 months we would meet. And that was a great opportunity. The local nuns, the St. Bridget nuns, couldn't I couldn't believe how we could make those contacts so early on in our stay. But they were such a support.
Was Father Albert Nolan part of the
Yes.
group? He was one of the leaders, was he not?
He would often give a talk or a conference for the nuns and for the group, So it was a wonderful opportunity.
I did check. He's still living.
Oh, okay.
In about 83.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
So
I'm glad to hear that.
I presume he's in Africa. But,
Oh, yes, he's third or fourth generation South African. Yes, but English speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if I may bring you back to the United States, and lucky you being in California, but you were elected co-provincial at some point
Right.
in your life. Thank you very much.
It was in the mid-'70s, and yes, I had a 3-year term with Anastasia McNichols and Iva Gregory, and our home base was Oakland, but we went from there, and it was really the West. So we covered Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. We didn't really have sisters in Oregon or Washington State, but
All through California.
all through California and Nevada. And so we took different sections. One part would be close to where we lived, and then one was far away. So we did quite a bit of traveling. Yeah.
Supporting and affirming the sisters.
Exactly. And during a time when things were changing and we were moving toward chapters. And so we had regional meetings, and that was the precursor to mission groups, and so that's how it was during our time. Yes, 3 years was enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was, because we had, as we all remember from that survey, there are early innovators and then there are late innovators. So
Yeah.
it was, honoring all of the people's choices at the time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a challenge.
It was. It was.
Fran, may I ask, what brought you to the Adrian area?
Well, I had finished teaching, and I had spent a couple of years at the Dominican hospital, and it wasn't really a match for me.
In Santa Cruz.
In Santa Cruz at Dominican Hospital. I hadn't found a niche, and so
Were your parents still living?
My parents had moved from Chicago. They had both retired, and they were living in Santa Cruz. And so, in fact, they're buried there in Santa Cruz. So, but they were still both living. No, by the time I was coming here, no, they had both died. They had both died. And
So you felt free to move.
exactly. And my brother was living in Illinois. And so they were rearranging the Portfolio Advisory Board office. Carol Costin had done the work for years, and it was going to move, the office was going to move to Adrian, and they wanted someone for corporate responsibility, someone for alternative investments, as we called them then, and then someone for education and administration. And so I was invited to interview, and I did, and I got the job. So I worked with Corinne Floric, Annette Sinagra, and myself.
Well, that was a joy.
And we had the Berry Room, actually, before the renovation in Madden Hall. And so we spread out, and it was a very innovative time for us. We were refashioning things, and it was a time of boycotts with the Coca-Cola boycott and so on. And so there was a lot going on. And so that was just before we got the invitation to go to South Africa. So.
Well, but then you came back to...
I came back
to Adrian.
To Adrian after South Africa. And at that time, the renovation of Madden Hall had taken place, and they had reconfigured the archives into 3 different levels that were added on to Madden Hall. And it was climate controlled and very secure place for all of our records.
That's the brick addition on Madden Hall, correct?
Right, on the northwest corner of the building.
Near Weber Center.
Correct. And so they, Sister Marianne Brennett had come from Florida. She was a librarian. She had rearranged everything according to archival practice, but they needed someone to retrieve documents, and everything to that point had been typewritten. We were just moving into computerizing things. So that was my job, is to become, to put some of the indexes and so on the computer.
Did you have the privilege of working with Sister Felicia?
I did. Oh, she,
what a joy.
She just, of course, she had worked downstairs for years in the vault, as we called it. And
that was right under Mother Gerald's office,
yes,
wasn't it?
It was. And so when things were moved upstairs, it was just, sometimes it was confusing for her, but she knew our nuns and knew our history so well. And Sister Mary Phillip was still working there, writing our history and vignettes about all different aspects of our lives. It was a wonderful time to learn our history. I spent 7 years both filing but also retrieving information for people. And Nadine was starting on her books and always looking for more information. So it was a good time.
Oh, that was a privilege, yes. And not too many people have permission to be in the archives, isn't that true?
Right.
You have to.
Right.
You have to sign in blood, probably.
Well, and there's a section of the archives that is for active, current members,
Mm-hmm.
and that is not part of the archives per se.
Mm-hmm.
They have the records there, so they're secure. But we only dealt with past. We didn't deal with current. The current records are under Sister Rose Celeste, now Sister Joy Finfera. Yeah. So
and Sister Beverly Babola
is the archivist now.
But following you was Sister
Marilyn Francoeur.
She was there quite a long time.
She was there, I think it
beautiful.
was 10 years, yes. Yes.
That's
But my knees gave out with the 3 levels and the carting the books and the boxes, and it's a very physical work, really, to work there. So
they should have a pole where you could slide down like the
right.
firehouse.
We do have an elevator for the boxes, but we don't, and we do have an elevator in the building. So, but it's still rather strenuous. Yeah.
So did you have to have surgery when your knee?
Yes, I had my knee replaced, and so then I went to Sister Sharon Spanbauer had just started as a nurse practitioner working in our clinic here at the Dominican Lives Center, and that was a new position, and she had Esther Bartlett was working with her, but the work was getting more and more complicated, and there were more and more people coming to Dominican Lives Center. So they asked me to come and learn. And I must say that my 2 years at Dominican Hospital helped me. I had some idea of medical terminology, but I learned a lot more from Sharon. She taught me everything I know, and I ended up doing the billing for medical records, and that is a
job in itself.
It is a job, and the codes and getting things approved from Medicare and Humana and all of Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it really it's a very complex. And then after 9 years in the job, they decided to change all the codes to a different system.
Oh no.
And so
and you weren't 40 years old at this
no,
time.
I was in my 70s, and I said, I cannot. This is not for me. So, but in the end, I helped with the transition to the new codes because, you know, Tammy was moving on and Kathy DeLine was coming in, and so it was.
Did Diane Patera, Sister Diane Patera, do
Oh,
that
she
for a
worked.
while?
She worked
Yeah.
with Humana very closely to get permissions for different things. It's who you know and how you can get the information you need.
So then Tammy, and now who is?
Kathy DeLine is the one, and we still talk every now and then. And
Does she enjoy the?
oh,
work?
she does.
Oh,
She
that's
does, and I'm sure many of our nuns know her because they're
Questions that need to be
questions
clarified.
about insurance, health insurance. We could get into a whole political discussion about what's happening in Congress right now, but we won't.
And how is life at Weber?
Oh.
Are you on second floor or third floor?
I'm on second floor of Weber,
Yeah.
and it's delightful. We have a wonderful community there, and we celebrate birthdays, and every month we get together just to check in and see how people are doing. But we see each other in the kitchen and in the laundry and
The elevator.
oh, of course. And so it's a great group. And
About how many are on a second floor, would you say? About 15?
well, there's room for 15, but some of the rooms are very tiny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're meant for overnight. So I think there are 11 of us now. Yes, yeah.
And
So-
the third floor
Yes.
houses our sisters also, doesn't it?
Right. They might have 12 or 13 there.
Now, I've seen you walking around campus, and you have earplugs in your ear, and I'm so fascinated. You know, we do wave.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do. I have an MP3 player, and it has books on tape.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm able to exercise, which I've been encouraged to do, but then I can listen to my books. So
Well, you've read several books then.
I have read
heard.
many
Heard.
books, and I'm able to download them free from the library. So that is a great device. I recommend it.
Do you know of anyone of our sisters in Maria that do that?
You know, Rosemary Conlon had one, and she was using it, and so did Catherine Deutsch.
Yes.
But you know, it's good. But sometimes the buttons are small and hard to manipulate if you can't see well. So that is a drawback.
Well, as we end here, Fran, and having declared yourself a diamond jubilarian, what advice would you have for someone who might be interested in religious life?
Oh, I would say come and see, because there are so many blessings and opportunities. My life has been blessed in so many ways, and I live with such wonderful people, and I've been mentored by so many that and God is calling us all to do what we can each day to further the mission. And so I would just recommend that.
And you may get sent to California or South Africa.
Exactly.
Lucky you. I'm quite jealous for your ministry and your life among us. Thank you so much. Beautiful presence, Fran.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.